This is a common question I get is what are the best fruits and vegetables to feed my dog? And I totally understand because I want to know when I'm at the grocery store what is going to be the best bang for my buck and be the best bang for my pet's health. If we haven't had a chance to connect, maybe this is the first episode you're listening to, maybe this is the first video you're watching on YouTube. I'm Dr. Bamonte, a veterinarian of over 11 years, and I really value nutrition and what it can do for your pet's health well beyond filling their bowl. And so this is going to be a quick action-packed episode where I'm going to list out 10 superfoods and why, and how you can incorporate them into your pet's nutrition lifestyle because every dog is different, every dog eats different, every pet parent is different. And so they're not only delicious, but they're safe and they're healthy for your dog. And so I have them listed here and I'm going to list them out one by one. So the first one is blueberries, rich in antioxidants and vitamins, perfect for a quick nibble. These are great if you want to replace some packaged treats that you give your dog. Maybe you're the type of pet parent that every time your dog goes outside to go potty, you give them a treat. Try and swap it out for blueberries. Now, what I am going to say is that every pet may not like every one of these, and that is okay. If you find one or two of these, that's fantastic. If your dog likes all of them, that is great. I would also try and slowly introduce them. None of these should really cause GI upset. However, like I always say, no two dogs are the same, and every dog is different, and every dog may have a preference. My dog particularly, he likes blueberries when they're extra, extra sweet. So maybe something that you taste test as well. So blueberries are a great snack. They are powerhouses when it comes to antioxidants. This is a great snack to consider if your dog is on a traditional food. When I say traditional food, a traditional kibble, a traditional canned food, I would try this as one of your top ones to try because of the antioxidants, because those foods tend to be lower in antioxidants that we would like. And so this may be a great place to swap out those packaged treats and do this instead. Number two is carrots. They're low calorie, they're crunchy, they can be great for dental health. And the reason I say that is it's the crunch, yes, but because of the texture of it, when your dog chews it, they have some gum blood flow, and that's what we want for oral health. And so it's not necessarily that the carrots are like scrubbing it, is that it's allowing for that blood flow to happen in that mouth and the gums, which is going to help to detoxify. You can do carrot chips, you can do little carrots, you can do big carrots. I would be mindful of your dog's size. Some dogs do like these cooked, some like them raw. Raw is going to give you the best bang for your buck. Some dogs don't tolerate them raw. So absolutely can steam them if your pet doesn't like them raw or can't tolerate them. In fact, just this past Easter, I gave my dog for the first time ever those long carrots, like almost like you see in the store with like the green at the end, something you would see the Easter bunny chomping on. I gave him the tall ones, and I wasn't sure how he would like it. He loved them. He held them with his little paws. So great opportunity for, again, a packaged snack for you to give your dog. In fact, some people will even freeze them so that way they're a little bit tougher for them to chew on. So fresh, raw, frozen with some water on them to just really give that nice crisp, or even gently cooked steamed is a nice way to offer it to your dog. Sweet potatoes. Sweet potatoes are also loaded with vitamins and beta carotene. With or without the skin, definitely would want to cook it. Steaming is going to be your best bet. Any of these foods that you're going to cook, steaming is going to be best to preserve the nutrients usually. So you can offer a little bit of sweet potato. I will say it's not as calorie light as maybe the carrots or the blueberries, but it is something that you could swap in every now and then or swap out for some of your packaged treats. I have seen owners bake sweet potatoes, almost like potato chips in a way that they're like sliced and baked. That's another option for you as well. Spinach. Now, I have met some dogs who love spinach as a treat, which cracks me up because when you think about it, you're like, it's just on its own. It's spinach. However, it is very nutrient dense for a green, and it is it's going to pack all those vitamins and minerals. However, in moderation, some dogs can't tolerate it very well because of their urine. So, would in moderation, but it's something that maybe you can mix in like if you're doing a little topper, or again, see if your dog likes it as a snack. It's not terribly common, but I've met some dogs who love their spinach. In fact, when they hear the lid open, they come running. So again, very low calorie. It does have calcium and it does have other vitamins and minerals. So just in moderation, this is not something I would be giving your dog ad lib, meaning just like freely because of the vitamins and minerals. Apples, great source of vitamin A and vitamin C. However, not the seeds. We don't want them to eat the seeds because they can be toxic to them. Skin is totally okay with the apples. So green, red, any type of apple. And here's my plug. And so I am someone that I used to not really care about organic versus not organic food. In the last few years, I do care a little bit more about stuff. And so organic doesn't necessarily mean that it's free of every chemical or certain things that the grocery stores are putting on foods these days. What I will say is that all this stuff that doesn't have a hard skin to it, like an avocado, a banana, try and lean into more organic if it is something that fits in your lifestyle, fits in your budget, fits where you shop. So definitely would be looking at that. All apples are great. Green apples sometimes tend to be a little bit higher in antioxidants. Apples are a great snack. I don't know that I've ever heard of a pet parent offering apples cooked. They're usually raw. And so, like I said, you can try it with the skin, without. We just want to stay away from those seeds and be careful of the rind as well, which is where the seeds are. But we want to be careful is that so that way we don't have anything end up in the stomach that is going to be hard to digest. Green beans. Green beans are great. These can be raw or these can be cooked via steam, high in fiber, low in calorie. So favorite low calorie treats, carrots, green beans, maybe some blueberries. This is another great crunchy snack that you can try for your dog. Again, try it cooked versus trying it raw. Any of these that you're going to give raw, wash them really well. Maybe let them soak with some vinegar or some baking soda beforehand. Let them really, really be clean and well rinsed before offering it to them. But green beans can be a great snack. This can be a great topper for your dog. Again, if your dog is on a very traditional kibble, this could be something that you can, or your dog gets a lot of packaged treats. Maybe you've been told your dog's on the well-loved side. This is a great treat that you can offer, especially if your dog loves crunchies. This may be a great treat that you can offer or topper on their food. Bananas. So they are very yummy. The more yellow they are, more ripe they are, the more sugar content. So just be mindful if you're a dog that maybe you're watching their sugar content, maybe they're diabetic, um, maybe they tend to be a little on the well-loved side. So just the more ripe the banana becomes, where it's almost brown, the more sugar is in it. And it can have more fiber when it's a little bit more green. So some dogs absolutely love it. Again, some dogs have texture preferences, just like people, and that is totally okay. And so it could be something, again, you swap out as maybe a treat or a topper on your food, or maybe you do a variety. Now, I will tell you, some of these toppers, fruits as toppers, a little hard, or as treats, are a little hard. Like carrying around a bag of banana can be maybe a little messy. Maybe a bag of blueberries like sitting at the door. If you're someone that keeps treats by the door, these may be a little bit harder. So just be mindful of what you're using and how you're using it. And so some of these may not be able to completely replace the treats that you have in your home for whatever particular purpose. If you're someone who has a bag of treats by the front door so that when new people come in, they can give your dog a treat, because that's what helps, you know, really settle them down and really help them welcome the new person. Some of these may not be ideal, but if you're someone who's a little treat heavy, and I've met quite a few of you pet parents that every time your dog does anything outside, I would maybe consider switching to some of these, especially if they're on a traditional food, traditional kibble, traditional canned food. So that way they're getting fresher food. Because anytime we can offer your dog, your pet, your furry loved one, more fresh food and less processed food, especially ultra processed food, the better, just like us. Eggs cooked. Eggs are incredible. Now, I know some people offer egg shells to their dog's food for a form of calcium. This is typically more done if you are home cooking for your dog and not if you're buying something commercially available, as commercially available food typically has the right vitamins and minerals. Now, it may be low in antioxidants, it may be low in how we want those vitamins and minerals delivered. They may be more synthetic and more natural. But we're talking about cooked eggs here. They are packed with so many vitamins, so many amino acids, so many healthy fats, so many great vitamins. Eggs are a great topper. Again, you want to just be mindful of how you're cooking it. If you're cooking it, don't drench it in a lot of oil. If you can boil it, that may be a little bit better than pan frying it. However, dogs are different, right? And I've said this is what, maybe the fourth or fifth time saying it this episode. No two dogs are the same. So their preferences may be a little bit different. Well, I don't know many dogs that eat hard-boiled eggs. It's something that you can try and just slice up on your dog's food. But we definitely want it cooked. Some people will offer it raw. They will offer the whole egg, and that's also a preference up to you as well. Sardines. Canned sardines in water, no salt. They are a tiny fish with a big bang for their benefit. They have great omega-3s, especially EPA and DHA. They have some calcium. They offer brain support because of the omegas. They can offer some coat support. So I know some pet parents, in fact, pet parents I have consulted with, that didn't want to use an omega-3 supplement and wanted to use sardines. And I was like, that is great. That is even better. I also know that not everybody is wanting to go out and buy, stack up on cans for their dog, and that is okay too. It is a great snack. It is not something that you need daily. It can be done weight-based. So it is absolutely something that you maybe want to consider for your pet in place of maybe doing either an omega-3 or traditional snack. And here's a little tip for you that if you give your dog one sardine per 10 pounds, about 2 to 3 times a week is what you can think about doing with this. So that's a little side note for the sardines for you. So all of these are great. And I'm not saying that these are the only superfoods out there. These are the most common ones I talk about. These are the most common ones that dogs like. These are the most common ones that come up with questions. There are more. There's much more to it. We know no grapes, no raisins. We don't want apple seeds. We don't want avocado seeds. We don't want onion. So we just want to be mindful, but it does not stop here. There's broccoli is also great. Snap beans are also great. There's much more beyond this. There's strawberries, there's raspberries. These are just most of these fruits and vegetables are very easy to source, no matter where you live, no matter what grocery store you go to, whether you go to Costco, whether you go to Sam's, whether you go to Trader Joe's, whether you go to Publix, whether you go to Aldi, whether you go to HEB, whether you go to Whole Foods. These are very easy to come by traditionally. Now, some of them are seasonal, and you just want to be mindful of maybe where they're coming from. Are they organic or are they not organic? Again, I understand that not everybody wants to buy organic, not everybody has the means to, but as best you can, cleaning them. And if you're like, this interests me so much more, I want to know what my dog can have specifically because they have allergies, because they have urinary issues. I want to invite you to schedule your one-on-one nutrition consult. This is exactly what we talk about. In fact, I had a pet parent about 2 months ago. This is what we formulated her homemade diets for, is that her dog was having urinary crystals, and we wanted to be very intentional with the diet. And so when we started dissecting what she had been eating, and what her new diets were going to look like, it was very high in ingredients that were fresh foods that were contributing to her crystal formation. She was very susceptible with this. In fact, there's another nutrition consult that I have coming up in the next few weeks with a pet owner, very similar with allergies and urinary issues. And she wants to be mindful of formulating the recipe so that it is mindful of her pet's allergies, while also being mindful of her urinary issues. And so while fresh fruits and vegetables are wonderful, we also have to be mindful that sometimes certain dogs are just more prone to certain conditions because of these. Now, I've not met a dog who's had an apple allergy or a blueberry allergy or a carrot allergy. Have stranger things happen? Yes. I have friends, I have colleagues that have allergies, severe allergies to fruit. So sometimes strange things happen. And so it is absolutely possible. If you're like, hey, I'd like to just know a little bit more about this, I don't know that I necessarily need the one-on-one support just yet. I also want to invite you to download The Truth About Dog Food. It is a guide that I made. Originally, the intent was, hey, let's just dispel some myths when it comes to dog food. Let's dispel that because it costs more, it's better. That's not necessarily true at all. And so I created this guide, and then I eventually added toppers as a session. I added dental health as a session. I added supplements as a session. I added herbs as a session. And so if you're looking for, hey, where can I just have one area of information compacted for me that is kind of veterinarian approved or veterinarian created, I want to invite you to download that. All of that will be in the links below, whether you're watching this, whether you're listening to this. So that is two of the easiest ways for you to have guidance and that way you can influence your pet's health based on their needs, based on their health, whether they are 8 months old, 8 years old, whether they are 2 years old or they are 12 years old, whether this is your first dog or this is your eighth dog. So that way you have the information. And what's really cool about having information is that you can use it to influence your dog's health, but whether it's this dog or your future dogs. And so what I do want to say is that you rarely will find me recommending a food and putting a hard stamp on it and just putting it out there and just disregarding it. And the reason I say that is that in the truth about dog food, what you're not going to find is a list of dog foods that I recommend, like specific brands. What you are going to find is information so that you can cut out the noise because there's a lot of noise out there. Feed this food, don't feed this food. Feed carrots, don't brush their teeth, brush their teeth. There's so much information out there. And so that's why I don't list brands because who's to say that 3 months from now you go to access that and some of those brands are different. They had a new CEO, they partner with another company, they merge with another company, and now everything is so different. And so, what I think is more important for you as a pet parent is to be empowered by having the information so that you can sift through all the noise, put your blinders on, put your headphones on, and that way you know exactly what matters for your pet. And so I hope that you found this episode very helpful on here's some very simple superfoods that you can feed your dog and why. You can implement them as toppers. You can implement them as treats. If you're cooking for your dog and you have recipes, you can maybe consider switching these out. Now, what I do want to say about this, about home cooking and switching things out, is that if your recipe is formulated to be balanced, switching things out can alter that balance, especially if you're doing it consistently. So be mindful. These may be better placed as toppers or as treats. And when I say toppers, I don't know where you're located, but here in Florida, we don't really get snow. And when we do, it is literally a dusting. It is uniquely pathetic. But that's why a lot of us live in Florida. And so I imagine when you're giving your dog a topper on their food, it should literally look like a dusting of Florida snow. You should be able to easily see the food underneath. And the reason I say that is that if it is more than your dog's 10% of their daily calories, there's the potential for them to have nutritional imbalances. And those nutritional imbalances sometimes are visible to the naked eye because their hair coat quality goes down. The skin barrier on their hair coat gets compromised. They're more prone to ear infections, their allergies, their gut health, which can manifest as ear issues, skin issues, and poop issues. And so that's why I say if you're going to use them as toppers, a light dusting, think of a Florida snow or swap them out for your packaged treats. It's a great way to offer your dog fresh food, fresh vegetables, and it adds diversity to their gut because different bacteria thrive on different foods. And when you have a well-balanced community of different bacteria, your dog's health can be better. So if you want to take your dog's health to the next level, download The Truth About Dog Food and discover more about not only these toppers, but supplements, herbs, dental health, different types of dog food. What is air dried? What is dehydrated? And if you're looking for a more personalized approach, a little bit more guidance, a little bit more support, I invite you to schedule that one-on-one nutrition consult.